Testing 1, 2, 3. Good evening. Welcome to the August 7th meeting of the Berkeley School Board. If you want to follow along our online agenda, the agenda is posted on the district website. I am now calling this meeting to order at 7:13 p.m. Before we begin, I'm very excited to welcome our student director, Winta Clark, to the dais. If you can help me. Given today's historic announcement about Vote 16, our student directors will now sit at the dais next to the board president. And with that, Ms. Chidas, please call the official roll for this evening's meeting.
Student Director Samara Winta Clark. Present. Director Jennifer Shinosky.
Here.
Vice President Khadija Brown. Present. And President Anna Vasudev.
Presente.
Directors Chang and Babbitt are excused this evening, for the record.
Thank you, Ms. Chidas. We'll now approve the agenda for this evening's meeting. At staff's request, the following consent items will be pulled all together. Items 12.7, approval of amended bylaw 9323, meeting conduct. Agenda item 12.8, approval of amended BP 6146.1, high school graduation requirements. And agenda item 12.9, approval of adoption of BP 6146.11, alternative credits towards graduation. And is there a motion, colleagues, to approve the agenda and second the agenda as amended?
I move that we approve this evening's agenda with the pulling of item 12.7, 12.8, and 12.9.
Motion was approved.
second.
A motion was moved by Vice President Brown, seconded by Director Shinosky. Ms. Chidas, I think because we're not all directors are here, right? You have to call the. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes. And we will now report from our closed session. Vice President Brown, please report out on this evening's closed session.
Will do. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Oh, you can give me a little more energy than that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to our first board meeting of the year. So happy to see you all. And as I get my notes together, we will go into the report from closed session. Closed session began at 6:09 this evening with President Vasudev, Vice President Brown, and Director Shinosky present, with Director Babbitt and Director Chang excused. For item 3.1.1, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all present directors in favor. For item 3.2, the board heard an update and gave direction. For item 3.3.1, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all directors in favor. For item 3.3.2, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all directors in favor. For item 3.3.3, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all directors in favor. For item 3.3.4, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all directors in favor. For item 3.3.5, you guessed it, it was moved by Director Shinosky, seconded by President Vasudev, and the motion passed with all directors in favor. For item 3.4.1, the board heard an update and provided direction. This ends the reading of the closed session notes. President Vasudev, I'll pass it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Brown. Next, we'll hear from our Superintendent, Emika Ford-Martel.
What time is it? Good evening, BUSD family. And welcome to the 24-25 school year, and welcome to the first board meeting of the year. Y'all missed us, huh? Look at this. I'm actually really happy to see you all. So glad that you're here. And I'm going to ask that you stay for the duration of this evening's meeting. I know that we still have a few more days before we officially come back to school. on Wednesday, August 14th. But I want to let you know that even though our babies are not back yet, our educators and our staff have been back and are super excited to welcome you all back to our campuses. I also want to make sure that you know that our OFI staff, in partnership with Berkeley School Funds, supplybank.org, Covenant Church, City Center Church, and City of Berkeley want to make sure that the babies are ready for day one and beyond and are hosting our annual BUSD backpack and supplies giveaway this Saturday, August 10th at San Pablo Park from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The backpack supply giveaway is just one part of Saturday's extravaganza, so please make sure you spread the word, and we hope to see you there. By now, you should have all received communications from your respective school site leaders with important information about the beginning of the school year, inclusive of bell schedule, drop-off pickup, and other logistics to make sure that we kick off the school year right and you feel ready and informed. I also want to remind you all that again, this year, BUSD will be providing free breakfast and lunch to all of our students TK-12. That's not exciting? Okay. I mean, that's a big deal because lunch is expensive. Free breakfast and lunch to all of our babies. And our lunch is pretty good and our breakfast is pretty good too. And we actually have a presentation this evening about our nutrition services. So you get to see and hear about the amazing folks who make sure our babies are eating well and are healthy and get nutritious meals. I would also like to welcome our new student board member, Winta Clark. Winta is a senior at Berkeley High School, and she's in the Academic Choice Small School. Please give Winta a big round of applause. Because like I said, school doesn't start till next week, and Winta is already working, and she's super excited to be here, and we're excited to have her, and looking forward to seeing all the ways that you help us improve our system and move us closer to our mission statement here in Berkeley Unified. I also want to welcome to the dais John Calise, our Assistant Superintendent of Facilities. Mr. Calise, right there, as you know, has been the Executive Director of Facilities for quite some time now, and he's been a member of my executive cabinet. And so he is now just joining us on the dais with his new title of Assistant Superintendent of Facilities. And so please welcome John Calise. Same capacity, new title. This evening, actually, we're going to make sure he earns that seat at the dais by making him do a presentation to really explain to you all and to engage our board in a discussion about the move of the Longfellow campus. Many of you may or may not know that we had got some news right 2 days or so after school was over this past spring that said that we need to actually relocate our middle schoolers at Longfellow. Luckily, the Longfellow community, and we know that a school is not the building itself, but the people and the community who make the school. And so the Longfellow community and our principal, Selita Mitchell, has assured that we are going to keep calm and tiger on. And so we know there's a lot of work ahead, but we're excited to move that campus. Assistant Superintendent Calise facilitated that move. You all 5,000 plus hours of people power to move not just the Longfellow campus to Berkeley Adult School, but to move the Berkeley Adult School right next door to our district office here in Bonar and to one of our early childhood education centers. So there's been a lot of things happening this summer here in Berkeley. There always are, but a big move, and he's going to share information about that this evening. In addition to that, we will have, as I said, a presentation about our nutrition services team and the work that they do. But I want to call out and note that that presentation is actually going to be made by Bonnie Christensen, who's our Director of Nutrition Services. What you need to know about Bonnie is that she's leaving us. No, what you need to know about Bonnie is that she has contributed and given so much of her time and talent and love to the babies of Berkeley by making sure that they are fed really well. Your babies know about kale in part because of Bonnie Christensen. And so she has dedicated over 17 years of her life to Berkeley Unified babies, to our staff and to our families. And actually, we just were able to eat some of the amazing food that her and her team prepare at our leadership retreat just last week. She had read about our nutrition services department in the New Yorker, actually. That's what drew Bonnie to BUSD. And she soon rose to be the executive chef and then director of nutrition services in 2018. Ms. Christensen has done so much for the district these past 17 years, most notably serving hundreds and thousands of fresh, healthy, nutritious, and delicious meals to our students. She has worked to answer our community calls for sustainability, including eliminating plastic bags and single-use paper products. working with local and state advocacy groups to lobby California to support our goals and food programs. Ms. Christensen and her team were on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring that our students had healthy breakfasts and lunch meals even when school buildings were closed. And so she's going to present tonight. But we wanted to make sure to take out this time to say thank you, Bonnie, for your service and your dedication to our district. And so since I told you that she's leaving, you probably want to know who's coming. And so I'm excited to introduce to many of you, Rich Hannon, and he's going to be the Director of Nutrition Services in Bonnie's place. And Rich has been the executive chef for the last 2 years and has the culinary background, the management foundation, and food service experience necessary to lead this department and take it to the next level. Welcome, Rich. My final announcement is tonight is special for many reasons, not just because you're here, but because it is the birthday of our board director, Jennifer Shinosky. Now, we're not going to embarrass her and sing or do anything like that or ask for speeches, but what we are going to do as our gift to her, and quite honestly, the gift to us and you as well, is to try to get this meeting done at a reasonable time. So because of that, and in your honor, I'm going to end my comments now and say again, welcome y'all. I'm ready for the 24-25 school year.
Thank you, Superintendent, for your wonderful comments. Excited to welcome new people to the dais to celebrate my colleague's birthday and dedication to our work by being here on her special day. Thank you. And to meet all the new people that are coming in, and again, to thank Bonnie for your many years of service to the district. And we will now move on to the public comments component of our agenda. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you of our decorum expectations during this and all parts of tonight's meeting. No person shall disturb the order of this meeting. Such behavior includes, but is not limited to booing, hissing, creating or participating in any physical disturbance, speaking out of turn in violation of applicable rules, preventing or attempting to prevent others who have the floor from speaking, preventing others from observing the meeting, entering into or remaining in the area of the meeting room that is not open to the public, or approaching the dais without permission. As Ms. Chiditz already explained, there are 2 opportunities for public comments at each meeting, now and at the end of the meeting. If you do not get to speak at the beginning of the meeting, we encourage you to stay and speak at the end of the meeting. You may also email us your comments at boardofed@berkeley.net. The board does not respond directly to comments or questions being made during the public comment. Board members, the superintendent, and staff do take notes during the public comment and may follow up with the speaker after the meeting. These are hybrid meetings, so we have public commenters in the boardroom and online. We've designated 20 minutes to our in-person speakers. This will be followed by 10 minutes of online speakers. Anyone online who wishes to make public comments should raise their virtual hand now so Ms. Chiditz can organize. One important thing is if you're a student and you're online, please indicate student after your name so we can call on you first, as is the board's general practice. Each public commenter will have 1 minute to speak depending on the amount of speakers. Please note that the microphone will shut off at the end of each speaker's allotted time, so time your comments accordingly. I will call your name in the order of speakers per agenda item. To keep things moving, I would like to ask the speaker who is next in line to come forward and wait near the mic. I apologize in advance if I mispronounce anyone's name, and please correct me if I do. We will now begin our public comments with those that are here in person. And per our practice, we're going to start with our students first. So I would like to call Jane Marie Howard and Delisha McDonald.
Do I start?
Yeah, Ms. Cherry is going to put the clock on, and then you can start.
Greetings, Ms. Superintendent and school board meeting members. My name is Jane Marie Howard, and I'm here to talk about how the system fails youth who come from out of a different district to come for a better education. And one of my good friends, Delisha McDonald, who has an interdistrict transfer, has been revoked. Over the years, this has happened to many around me for years. As a Longfellow alum and an alum of the no longer program Umoja, I learned that system dictates people's futures and people's futures. who it dictates the most are people of color. And by her getting kicked out the district, she has to start over and she won't be able to get the help she needs as a special needs students anywhere else. So we want the system to change and yeah.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to call Delisha McDonald.
Good evening, Miss Superintendent and School Board. My name is Delisha McDonald. I'm in 11th grade and I did go to Berkeley High School until I got kicked out. I can admit and take accountability for my actions, but I feel like I asked for help and I was constantly being denied. I really want to stay at BHS. I'm in fact a peer mental health educator at BHS. I worked this summer for the city of Berkeley, which helped me improve my punctuality. I also play basketball at BHS. I also had a few scouts from a couple of colleges be interested in working with me, but I never had good enough grades for it. I've been in BUSD since preschool. I went to John Muir, Longfellow, and now hoping to finish my last 2 years at BHS. If I had an IEP, my grades will improve. This is the help that I need. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Keisha Carter. Ms. Carter, are you here? Followed by Nimoda Abina. And then Penny Rowan Wasser. Ms. Sabina.
Hi, my name is Nimota Bina. I'm speaking to you tonight as a parent of a rising seventh grader at Longfellow. I just wanted to talk to the board about concerns that parents have been talking to me about all summer, and that is transportation for those who live directly around Longfellow and how they're getting to the new Longfellow at BAS, at the Berkeley Adult School. I know that you guys are working to try and figure that out, but it is definitely an equity issue. And there's a lot of families that can't afford to take off to drive their kids to the new Longfellow. The second thing I wanted to do was to say was to thank all of the staff and administration at Longfellow. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sabina. If you were not able to finish your comments, please do email the Board of Education. Next, I'd like to call Penny Rosenwasser, followed by Alex Day.
I'm Dr. Penny Rosenwasser, and I'm a Jewish educator, and I've been teaching about anti-Semitism at the City College of San Francisco for 15 years. I'm also a racial justice leader at Kehillah Synagogue in Oakland, and I worked in Berkeley for 32 years. I treasure my Jewishness, and I care deeply about what our kids are taught, and I strongly support renewing the contract with the Liberated Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum Continuum. I teach my students that it's no more anti-Semitic to criticize Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza or to talk about Palestine than it is anti-American to criticize US policies. The danger to US Jews comes from white nationalists. That's who we need to mobilize against. I want all of our students to be safe, whether Jewish, Muslim, Christian, of color, transgender, disabled, or white. Please, let's recommit to Berkeley's history of radical progressive values. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Alex Day, followed by Arden.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Day. I teach at Berkeley High School. I teach ethnic studies and social living in the Universal Ninth Grade program. I'm here to once again voice my strong support for USD renewing Liberated Ethnic Studies contract with the district for another year and more if necessary. So though many of you probably know, for those of you that don't know, Liberated Ethnic Studies is a group of literally experts and originators of the field of ethnic studies. And bring that expertise to bear with our district staff in a collaborative process. So last year at 5 different grade levels, there were pilot projects. How that worked in the 9th grade was 2 of our 7 teachers, 2 of my colleagues would meet periodically and say, here's what we as a department want to have. Here are some units that you develop, and what do you like from that? Liberated does rightly include teaching Palestine as part of ethnic studies, and we need to renew the contract.
Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have Arden, followed by Carol Perez.
Hello, good evening. Welcome, Director Winter Clark, and happy birthday, Director Shanoski. So one of the first things I read this morning was that Utah is banning books by 12 women authors, including Judy Blume, and that these books have to be legally disposed of, which means they can't be redistributed. And it made me think of 3 things. The first is that the coming trickle-down chill effects on our district of California state bills that are policing language like genocide and settler colonialism as a continuation of anti-Palestinian activism in schools. The second thing it made me think of was the incredible ethnic studies showcase last spring that many of you attended, that was developed as a collaboration between our teachers and the Liberated Ethnic Studies professionals. And I'm so grateful to have my kids be in a district where that gets to be something that's here. The third thing that it made me think about was the incredible opportunity we have in BUSD to show not just our children, but the country what it means to defend hard-earned wins in equity and academic freedom. The Liberated Ethnic Studies contract is one way we can continue to build on this legacy.
Thank you. Next, we have Carol Perez, followed by Evan B.
Good evening, directors, administrators, and community members. My name is Carol Perez. I'm a Berkeley resident, a Berkeley parent, and member of the Ethnic Studies Advisory Committee. I'm here to call upon you to continue investing in our ethnic studies curriculum through Liberated Ethnic Studies. I recently heard someone quote George Orwell, who said, "The most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their own understanding of their history." Liberated Ethnic Studies is dedicated to a curriculum in which BIPOC people tell their own stories, not whitewashed courses meant to uphold and maintain the myth of white supremacy. Ethnic Studies is our country's history. Berkeley students should not be denied the truth about the history of people of color in order to allow racist actors to create a story of the past and present that suits their purposes.
Thank you. And next, we have Evan B, followed by Ellen Brodsky. Then we have Ellen Brodsky, followed by Lisa Huachon.
Hi, happy birthday, Jennifer. And first, I just want to say thank you, board and superintendent, for all the hard work over the past year and wish you the best in the upcoming year. We really appreciate all that you do for the kids of Berkeley schools. I'm also have been a member for 2 years of the Ethnic Studies Advisory Committee, and I'm here because I'm hoping that you will definitely extend the contract with Liberated Ethnic Studies. I was at the showcase. I saw the incredible lessons that combined local history with overall history of BIPOC folks. And our kids deserve the kind of ethnic studies education that was presented in that showcase. As a Jewish parent, I know that Palestine is part of that, the history of Palestinians here in the United States. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brodsky. Next, we have Lisa Huachon, followed by Russell Bates.
Welcome back, school board members and superintendent. I hope the summer break was restorative. Happy birthday too. My name is Lisa Huachon. I am a parent of a BHS sophomore. I am also a member of the Ethnic Studies Advisory Council.
I am here to strongly encourage you to renew our Liberated Ethnic Studies Model Curriculum Consortium contract tonight. Through a transparent and rigorous process, we, the ESAC, made up of students, teachers, parents, staff, and administrators, thoughtfully vetted the partnership with LESMCC. The LESMCC is a leader in the field of ethnic studies. The work that's produced out of LESMCC is reflective of the students of color, like my child in their classroom. There's zero evidence of hateful or discriminatory content in the LSMCC or any of the materials being created in BUSD with LSMCC. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Switchman. Next, we have Russell Bates, and our last in-person comment will be Stephen Finicum.
Hi, everybody. Good evening to you. I wish that when I was a young person, I'm 77 now. When I was 18, I wish they'd had to teach Vietnam, which would have prevented the murder of 2 to 3 million Vietnamese people. And I would not have nightmares, bad dreams, PTSD that I've had since then. I'm wearing a T-shirt of Ismail Haniyeh, the political leader of Hamas, who was murdered by the Zionist Israel. Less than 2 weeks ago, became interested in him when he was in Qatar, going for working peace and a ceasefire, when he received words his 3 sons and 4 granddaughters had been murdered by an Israeli missile. They asked him if he wanted to cease and take time to, he said, no, we got to go forward. We got to go forward.
Thank you for
Peace
your comments.
Palestine.
Next, we have Stephen Finicum, and that will conclude our in-person comments.
Good evening, board members. So I'm a neighbor of Sylvia Mendez School, and I'm coming with a request or perhaps a plea. So 3 months ago, construction started on the Sylvia Mendez campus, and it's continued nonstop 7 days a week, starting often before 7 a.m. And there's been no communication with the surrounding neighborhood about what the project plans are, what's going on, what comes next. There are probably 40 residential buildings right across from the school or adjacent to it, and no word from anybody. And we have tried to contact people, and there's just a wall that goes up. This is a request that BUSD be a good neighbor, as we've been good neighbors to the school for many years, and talk to us about what's going on and just communicate as the project continues. And so we need a contact point, and we need somebody who is willing to talk to us. So thank you.
Thank you for the in-person comments. Now we will move on to our public online comments. There are 7 hands raised online. We have 10 minutes for online public comments. Ms. Chires, why don't we just go via the order? And we'll start with Emily Hahn, followed by Gladys Ocampo Stout. And our last online comment will be Namita Dodeja. Okay.
Hi, good evening, Superintendent and Board, and happy birthday, Jennifer Shanofsky. My name is Emily Hahn, and I'm the parent of 2 children at Rosa Parks and the president of the Rosa Parks PTA. I'm here this evening to make what feels like my annual plea that the district invest more energy into adequately resourcing and staffing the BUSD after-school programs. Year after year, families do not find out if their children have spots in Learns and Bears until days before or even days after the school years start. This year, due to staffing challenges, there are many returning Learns families whose children have been in Learns for the last year or for many years prior, who do not have a spot this year. This continues to be incredibly challenging, anxiety-provoking, and stressful for working families in our district, and we cannot keep going on like this. I urge you, please make this the year that you find a solution to this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Gladys Ocampo Stout, followed by Christina's iPhone. You're on mute, Miss Stout.
Sorry. Okay, there. Thank you, everybody, and welcome back from the summer break. And thank you, school board members and Superintendent Brown. Happy birthday, Director Shanowski. I'm here today as not only a BUSD parent, but also on behalf of Latinos Unidos of Berkeley and the BUSD Ethnic Studies Advisory Committee to request that the board renew the contract for Liberated Ethnic Studies for the 24-25 academic year and more. The committee, which is formed by students, parents, teachers, and community members, went through a long and transparent process in selecting Liberated Ethnic Studies. Liberated Ethnic Studies is collaborative and culturally responsive, and there was zero evidence of hateful or discriminatory content in any of the created materials. There have been years of work, much of it voluntary by our community, and the positions and work funded by the district. Please don't let pressure from organizations with no understanding or commitment to ethnic studies and/or anti-racist education deny our students access to the authentic ethnic studies curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Christina's iPhone, and that will be followed by Erin Fowler.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you all had a restful summer. Happy birthday, Director Shanowski. Christina Harb, I'm a newcomer teacher at King, and I'm here to support the renewal of the Liberated Ethnic Studies contract. I think, it's more important now than ever before to make sure that we're staying true to our anti-racist values, teaching authentic histories of people of color in this country, especially as we witness book banning and rising Islamophobia and racism of all kinds. I also just want to say thank you for, I see that there's a newcomer therapist that's going to be provided finally at King, which I'm really excited about. And I have many kids in my class who are actually kids who have escaped genocides, political persecution, and starvation, not unlike what we are seeing happen in Gaza. So I hope that the board continues to invest in our students who were refugees and likewise. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Erin Fowler, followed by Darlene V. Willis.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Erin Fowler, and I'm a 6th grade teacher at Willard, and I'm also the parent of 2 kids who are at BUSD. I just want to acknowledge and thank the Longfellow and Berkeley Adult School staff for the way they're rolling up their sleeves and making the best of this difficult situation with the evacuation of their campus and moving to Bass. I know the whole community really needs to wrap around them and support them. And I think one way to really show our deep respect for the amount of work that they're doing right now is to pay them for these hours that they are taking to move into their new campus. I know they're receiving 12 hours, but that's the same amount that a Berkeley High School teacher would receive for just moving classroom to classroom on the same campus. And we all know that they are there right now, Monday through Friday, getting ready to open in warm, inviting classrooms. So I ask the school board to consider offering them some compensation for the hours that they're putting in. Thanks so much.
You. Next, we have Darlene Willis, followed by Namita Dodeja.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Good evening. My name is Dr. Darlene Willis. I serve the co-founder and executive director of Concerned Parent Alliance College Bound Academy programs. Hello to everyone and happy birthday to the director. Appreciate you all letting me come on. Just wanted to say I'm excited about this new school year. I am a proud, Concerned Parent Alliance College Bound Academy programs is a product of the Black Lives Matters resolution and the African American Success Framework. I really appreciate having that opportunity and just wanted to invite you all out as we start the new year on September 21st, which is our first College Bound Berkeley Academy program. Of course, you have an open invitation, but would love to see you there from 9 to noon at 2020 Bonar at the district office in Oxford Theater. So thank you. Looking forward to a great year. You all have a great year as well, and we are going to do some great things this year with Berkeley Unified School District. God bless you. Take care.
Thank you so much. And then our last online public comment will be by Namita Dodeja.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. I'm Namita Dudeja. Thanks for the opportunity to speak tonight. I am a brand new parent to BUSD. I have a kindergartner starting next week. So this whole thing is really new to me. I wanted to join tonight basically to echo Emily's earlier comments regarding after school care. So I understand, you know, as a new parent, there's a lot to navigate and sort out, but it has been extremely challenging and stressful not to have any insight into what's happening with aftercare. You know, as Emily mentioned, many of the families in the district have, you know, dual parent working households, and particularly with a kindergartner, you know, they come home early every afternoon, and just not knowing what to do with that or for how long the aftercare dust takes to settle is a really challenging and stressful situation. Definitely understand that hiring for childcare is a delicate process and a very, very challenging space to hire into. So I know this is not an easy problem to solve. But you know, if there is anything we can do to better support that or to better resource that.
Thank you so much, Namita. If you could email the rest of your comments to the Board of Education, that'd be appreciated. This now concludes the public comment period. Thanks to everyone who came to speak and who's here joining us tonight. If you didn't get to speak, please remember there's always an extended public comment period at the end of the meeting. Additionally, you can always email the board directly at boardofed@berkeley.net, or you can contact us individually. Our individual emails are located online on the Board of Education's website. Now we will move on to committee comments. Ms. Chidas, do we have any union comments or committee comments? All right, seeing none, we will move on to board member comments. And so do we have anyone who wants to start? All right, birthday girl, we're going to start with Director Shanowski.
But I'm going to be fast because in case you didn't know, it's my birthday. I've never had so many happy birthdays ever in my life. Okay, just a few quick updates from the summer. First, I also want to welcome our newest student board member. I'm really excited to work with you on a number of things and excited to share the dais with you. I'm also super excited that we have a green light for Vote 16 this fall. After 8 years, it looks like it actually is going to be implemented, and students will have a chance not to vote for our very own Vice President Harris yet, but to vote for student directors or for board directors. I really want to thank the Registrar of Voters. I want to thank our own past board director, Josh Daniels, and everyone else who worked tirelessly, especially over the last couple months this summer, to really get that across the line. And I want to give a special shout out to Margaret Prinsing, who served as the attorney representing BUSD in this whole process. Margaret always really put BUSD first while also really working hard to make this a possibility. And it seems easy, but I now know it is not easy. And there is a lot that goes into something like this. So just a huge shout out. Can't wait for the election this year. I also want to give a huge shout out to our facilities department for the Longfellow move. I think everyone was shocked. And we were shocked, everyone was shocked come June to find out that we had to move an entire school in just a couple of months. And not just one school, but I believe it's 5 three schools, but there were many moves involved. And summer is usually a time when all of us are able to find some rest and relaxation. And I know that vacations were canceled and plans were moved so that we could ensure that next week everybody's coming back to school and with their school community. So just much gratitude, especially to our very own John Calise. Thank you so much for that monumental task. Yes, a round of applause. I also want to thank Bonnie. We've never met in person, but we've exchanged some emails, and I want to give a special shout out because I learned this summer that you were instrumental in securing a grant for us that's going to give us the dishwashers that we need so that all of our schools will be able to use reusables in just one more year. And that is huge. So thank you to the students that advocated it, and thank you to you for doing that extra work. Lastly, or no, I have two more things. Second to lastly, I want to give a shout out to our junior jackets. I was at National Night Out last night and I got to see the junior jackets cheer squad do their routine and give me my first birthday present. So if you don't know the junior jackets, they are fantastic. They're a football and cheerleading squad for our community. And yeah, I'm excited to see how we can better integrate their programming into BUSD programming. And now lastly, I'm really excited that on my birthday, I get to vote in favor of continuing the really good work of our educators in the many years and the true community engagement in developing our ethnic studies curriculum. So thank you for being here and thank you for doing that work. I'm done.
All right, and now we'll move on to our student director.
Okay. Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. So my name is Winta. I am currently a rising senior at Berkeley High School, and I am extremely honored to be the new student director representing BHS. And so being in this role means not only advocating for students, but also bridging the gap between students and our leaders. And so I'm eager to serve as the student director because I deeply believe in the power of students' voices in shaping our educational experience. Especially in a school of nearly 3,500 students, it can be challenging to be heard. Like many others, I have experienced the frustration of uncertainty, not knowing where to go, not knowing who to talk to when trying to initiate change. And so this motivated me to run for a position where I could directly contribute to the decision making. In this school year, I aim to establish a clear pathway for students to voice their opinions and ensure they are represented in the school board's decisions. I also wanted to discuss the recent announcement about lowering the voting age for school board elections to 16 and 17. I think that this is a historic moment for us all, reflecting something students have long advocated for, and it provides a valuable opportunity for students to engage with politics and increase their political awareness. I think that by involving younger voices in the decision-making process, we can ensure that the perspectives and needs of students are more accurately represented. I am so proud of the students who worked towards making sure Measure Y1 was implemented, and I believe this is a significant step forward in creating a more inclusive and participatory educational environment. Overall, I am genuinely excited about the opportunities this year holds and look forward to working with all of you to bring out the best in BUSD. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your great comments and colleagues, Vice President Brown.
Yes, President Deb, we actually were supposed to receive comments tonight from the African Americans Success Framework Advisory Committee. And so would you like for me to cede my time? Would you like for them to go now or after my comment?
I think we can finish board member comments and then we'll go back. I
Perfect.
didn't, when I asked Ms. Chires, it wasn't a committee comment. So we'll just invite them back and give them their 5 minutes after the board comments. Sound good?
Okay, thank you so much, and thank you for giving them the opportunity to share. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our board meeting. Thank you to all of you who came to speak tonight in regards to the need for system changes for interdistrict transfers, transportation needs for the new Longfellow site. Those who made comments tonight in support of the Liberated Ethnic Studies curriculum, comments around community impacts and need for communication for the Sylvia Mendez beautification process. Thank you to those of you who spoke tonight in appreciation for the faculty, staff, and students at the Berkeley Adult School in the midst of their move, as well as those who spoke tonight for the need for insight and communication around after-school care. And thank you to Dr. Willis, who spoke tonight in regards to College Bound. All of your comments are very important and necessary and allow us to do the work that we need to do here on the dais. So they do not fall on deaf ears, and thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to keep my comments short tonight, but at first I would definitely like to say happy birthday to Director Shinaski. Wow, 24 again. So excited.
Oh, it's 29.
29 again. I hope your birthday is as phenomenal as you are. And I also would like to welcome Student Director Clark. Winter, we are so excited to have you here with us on the Board of Education. We know just by your very first introduction and your first comments that you will be an incredible asset and a phenomenal representative for all of our students. So thank you for going on this journey with us, and we cannot wait to see the amazing things you do here on the dais. I would like to take this opportunity to also thank Director Christensen for all of your amazing work here in BUSD for the last 17 years. The work that you have done will last a lifetime. Under your leadership, we were able to have and start our school lunch initiative, better known as the SLI. And the SLI's goals are to serve more nutritious and delicious, freshly prepared meals using locally grown food for all of our students and educators to be able to enjoy. Because of you and your team's work, we have salad bars in all of our schools, hormone-free milk, fresh fruit and fresh vegetables served daily. Almost all of our food is made from scratch. All of our bread and dinner rolls are either organic or whole grain. We have an efficient swipe card systems in almost all of our schools, and we offer vegetarian options daily. And that is no small task. And so we really appreciate all of the work that you've done, everything that our students and our faculty and staff are able to benefit from to help us be a healthier school district. And so you will be missed, but we thank you and are excited about all the work that you were able to do. Finally, a couple more things. I'd like to make note of a town hall meeting and conversation with the Berkeley Faith and Justice Coalition. The original one happened, and we had Director Babbitt, who was on the dais with Director Shinaski and I in the audience, and we are gearing up to do it again. That will be held on August 22nd, and the time and the location are to be determined. So please make sure that you are remaining in conversation with us about all the ways that we're trying to impact and improve our school district and our local community. And also, if there are any other conversations that you would like for us to be a part of, please remember to keep us in the know, as well as join our office hours so that we can connect with you. In addition to that, it is fantastic to be back up here on the dais as we gear up for a new academic year. I'm excited to be up here with my board colleagues and my board colleagues who are absent for the night, but not absent in their work and service to our students here in Berkeley Unified School District. We know that the work we do is really important and impactful. However, we know that we don't do this work alone. So thank you to our superintendent, her staff, as well as all of the educators, families, and community members here in Berkeley Unified School District. We know that this year will be the best one yet, and it is only because of your support, your love, and because you decide to show up every single day. So here's to a wonderful and impactful school year, and we look forward to walking hand in hand with you from now all the way until June. This ends my public comment. Director Vasudev, I will turn it back over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice President Brown. And I also just want to echo the appreciation for Director Christensen and also for Director Calise, Assistant Superintendent Calise, for your work during the summer. And just really appreciate your many years of service to the district. And like my colleagues have mentioned, I'm thrilled by today's historic announcement that 16 and 17-year-olds in Oakland and in Berkeley will be able to vote in their respective school board elections in November. Berkeley has been working to bring youth voting to fruition for many years, and we're excited to empower our youth to exercise one of their most important civic duties this November. I also want to thank our previous board members, which Director Shinosky alluded to, former Director Josh Daniels, Judy Appel, Ty Alper, Julie Sinai, Beatriz Leva Cutler, and the late Karen Hempel, who paved the way for this to happen. This year, Director Shinosky has been our board's liaison to the county for this important work, and I'm really proud of her leadership in making sure that we got through the finish line after many, many years of pushing for this. So thank you so much. Hope that's a good birthday gift to the community. And with that, I also just wanted to, let the public know and my colleagues know that the summer, it was also a busy time for us directors. I attended the CLSBA Unity Conference, worked really closely at the state level board called the California Latino School Board Association that represents the needs of over 50% of the students in California's public schools who identify as Latinx. It's an organization with membership from school board directors throughout the state in California. And our Unity Conference is where we partner not only to talk about the opportunity gaps in the Latinx community, but to really work closely with the California Association of Black School Educators, CABC, and APISMA, the Asian Pacific Islander School Board Members Association. All three organizations have been partnering more closely on the Unity Conference and on an event that I hosted in May in partnership with the Exploratorium to close the opportunity gap in STEM education. During our conference, which took place last week, the Unity Conference, I was able to participate on many panel discussions, but the one that really stood out to me in the conversation that I learned probably the most from there was the Californians Together's presentation on the state of English learners and making sure that our school boards, even though we've already approved our 3-year LCAPs, that we are truly looking at our goals on an annual basis and making sure that we're monitoring them well. And so they put together a guide that includes best practices for school board directors that I'll share with my colleagues. That was really informative and just how we look at data for English language learners as we're reviewing our LCAP goals on an annual basis. I look forward to this upcoming year being a fantastic year, as Vice President Brown said. I think part of that includes making sure that we're serving the community in the best way that we can, that we're a strong governance team and anchoring our work in upcoming governance training. So I'm excited that in September, we'll be having a governance training with the California School Board Association. And with that, I will go back to the previous part of our agenda, which was committee comments, and invite our African American Advisory Committee to present to the board for 5 minutes.
Good evening. Happy birthday, Director Shinosky, and good evening, school board. Welcome, Director Clark, Superintendent. Thank you so much. My name is Spencer Pritchard. I'm one of the co-leads of the African American Studies Department at Berkeley High.
Hi, I'm Nicole Harris. I'm a BSUD teen parent of a rising 7th grader and also a parent of a Berkeley High alumni.
So we're excited to briefly reintroduce the African American Success Advisory Committee. As the African American Success Framework Strategic Action 4.01, the ASAC focuses on review, monitor, and evaluate the district's implementation of the African American Success Framework and consider other possible strategic areas as appropriate. Advise the board and superintendent and relevant district department designees regarding accountability of services, programs, policies, and resources that directly impact the district school culture and climate of our classrooms and the academic, social, emotional, and personal outcomes for all Black African American students.
We would like to invite each AASAC member present to share their name and connection to BSUD.
Hi, my name is Karina Thomas, and I'm a student at Berkeley High.
Hi, my name is Pilar Fisher, and I am a mother of a rising sophomore at Berkeley High and a rising 7th grader at Longfellow.
Lorraine Gaskin, Thousand Oaks School.
Nimota Bina, mother of a rising seventh grader at Longfellow and an alumni.
Good evening, Casey Robinson, mother of a Berkeley High student and Longfellow student.
Good evening, Kamika Goodwin, grandparent of parent children at Craigmont, Longfellow, and a community activist.
Good evening. My name is Wilhelmina Wilson. I'm the Executive Director at Healthy Black Families, and we look forward to collaborating with Longfellow Elementary School to do the Village Cultural Academy this year.
And one more thing, we invite everyone to the September 14th Black to School Cookout taking place at Willard Middle School from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The theme of this year's Black to School is Strong Start. This will be an opportunity to connect BUSD families with a range of BUSD and the City of Berkeley resources to ensure a strong start to the school year plus lunch. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you so much. It's great to meet all the committee members. And I will say that there's one committee member, Miss Lorraine, who forgot to mention that every day she has kept our students safe on their way to and from school. She's one of our most spectacular crossing guards. So thank you, Miss Lorraine, for your service. All right, and next, we will move on to the approval of our consent calendar. Can I have a motion, directors, motion to approve and a second the consent calendar without items 12.7 to 12.19? Is it 12.17 to 12.19?
I move that we approve this evening's consent calendar, remembering that we took off item 12.7, 12.8, and 12.9.
Thank you, Vice President Brown. May I get a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Director Shinowski. All directors in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays or abstentions? Nope. Motion passes. And now we will move on to our first item this evening, which is our much awaited presentation from Nutrition Services. And Superintendent, who will be introducing this item? Ms. Christensen, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here this evening. It's an honor to be here and to speak with you and to tell you what we've been doing in nutrition services. It's on. Okay. We have to go back. Yes, very good. Okay, just hit the button settings and the big one. Okay, we're going to get started. It's not working. Oh, okay. The first slide is an overview of what we have done since I started as director. So I became director in October 2018. Our participation rate, while enrollment has decreased, we see that the rate of participation has risen. This is due in large part to all meals being free. Breakfast is not included in this data because breakfast has been free for all students since 2008, and participation remains steady. Our open positions in 2017 and 2018, we had open positions as well as unfillable positions where staff were on leave. Over the last couple of years, Nutrition Services has been able to add 7 new positions. This year, we have all staff returning. No one is on leave, with only 2 open positions, including the executive chef and the cook. This has a significant impact on our ability to provide fresh meals and good service. Total revenue includes breakfast, lunch, the snack program, and childcare programs, as well as summer programming. Increases reflect the reimbursement rates we are receiving from California as a result of universal free meals, grant awards, and federal benefits. Total expenditures also includes expenditures from grants. Meals for Needy Money is based on participation of free and reduced students. Berkeley may elect to give nutrition services these funds, now included in our ADA rates. But because nutrition services budget is so flush, these funds are no longer needed for nutrition services to operate to the benefit of the general fund. We are no longer receiving Meals for Needy money. We haven't been taking Meals for Needy money for the last 3 years. Our fund balance is flush. It looks quite good. And I continue to advocate for nutrition employees to increase their wages. My staff are the lowest paid employees in the district, and it is appropriate that they should see the benefit of their hard work. Yep. Universal Free Meals is a California program that provides additional reimbursement to the federal reimbursement rates for free, reduced, and paid students, so that the school food service programs receive state and federal combined reimbursement that exceeds the federal reimbursement rate for all students. Universal Free Meals eliminates unpaid meal charges at a cost savings to the general fund of some $20,000 to $30,000 a year. Universal Free Meals ensures access to meals to all students, regardless of their eligibility status, removing the stigma associated with school meals and closing the gap for those students who are unable to qualify, but whose households cannot afford to pay for these healthy and nutritious meals. Paid students who did not have money for food yet took meals anyway accrued debt. In 2018-2019, we accrued $25,955 in unpaid meal charges that had to be zeroed out by the general fund. When you combine the Meals for Needy money with the elimination of uncollected debt, the general fund is saving roughly $900,000 a year. Some of our funding is coming from grants. We've received 5 separate rounds of supply chain assistance. This pays for unprocessed or minimally processed domestic food. We've received 3 rounds of kitchen infrastructure funds or KIT funds for equipment and infrastructure. Local Food for School is for locally grown, minimally processed items from small or historically underserved producers. School food best practices money comes from local producers, is for local producers of fruit, vegetables, pasta, grains, meat alternatives, cheese, yogurt, and fish. We'll be purchasing organic Mary's chicken this year to serve on our menu, grass-fed beef hamburgers, and local fish. We also received a commercial dishwashers grant for 5 schools. That was the maximum, $40,000 per school, to purchase and install and purchase the ancillary equipment for dishwashers. It costs roughly $63,000. So while we'll have $40,000 per school, our cafeteria fund is healthy enough to provide the rest. Some examples of what we're doing with our KIT funds are on this slide. We were focused on energy efficient equipment, water saving equipment, our dishwashers. We've switched from gas to electric equipment. We're getting equipment that keep employees safer, less heavy lifting, less bending, faster and more efficient equipment, promote safer food handling. New equipment means reduced costs on repairs. Our repair bills have gone down significantly. We've also reduced our gas usage by moving to electric appliances. We are, by the way, looking into electric refrigerated trucks. So up until today, they were not available, and we just got word today that we can get electric refrigerated trucks. So if the price is right, we will be moving to replace our gas trucks with those electric trucks. Stay tuned. Okay. Specifically with KIT funds, we're really focused on reusables. We are purchasing stainless steel trays to eliminate paper plates, reducing the amount of garbage generated at lunch to the benefit of our custodial teams and reducing garbage collection fees. We purchased stainless steel cups to eliminate paper cups. We have reusable flatware, stainless steel souffle cups, mesh bags instead of plastic bags to eliminate all the plastic that we generate on a daily basis. We are also purchasing stainless steel bowls with lids. Those are being custom made for us. These will replace the pre-portioned cereal bowls that we receive that are served in plastic. They're plastic cereal boxes. I think you have all seen huge bags of cereal bowl garbage brought to your board meeting. We're also moving to larger bowls, which will be used for soup and some of our entrees. Most of that stuff is already here. Some of it is still in process of being ordered. Because of increased participation, the revenue generated from that and the reimbursement rates has allowed us to offer all of our staff 1.0 FTE, and in many cases, an increase of 0.33 FTE or more. This makes our low-wage jobs more attractive, both for recruitment and for retention. We started with 18% open positions, and now we're down to 0.03. With more hours, we can manage more at each site. We can move from single-use items to reusables, for example. Increased participation and revenue has enabled us to improve food. For example, we're purchasing better ingredients, Mary's chicken, fish, more meat alternatives that tend to be costly, different types of cheeses, tuna fish on the salad bar, greater variety of vegetarian offerings with a larger presence on the menu. Staffing shortages in the past were so severe that cooks had to go to sites to serve, leaving us without staff to prepare our fresh meals made from scratch. We had to buy ready-made sandwiches on several occasions to serve to the entire school district. Stable workforce and enough staff makes this a thing of the past. Additionally, staff can do more food preparation at the site level. This makes for fresher, tastier foods prepared more sustainably. More staffing means managers are subbing less for our employees, freeing them up to provide more coaching to our staff, oversight, as well as innovation. The community eligibility provision is an alternative method for accounting and collecting meal data for reimbursement. Students do not have to be identified, but rather the satellite operator makes a tally of the total number of meals served for each meal period and records the number in our system for reimbursement. This will enable students to get through the lines faster and will give school sites greater flexibility during lunch service. CEP benefits California as it maximizes the federal reimbursement, thus reducing the load on California. In the past, eligibility for CEP was determined by a threshold of 40% direct certified. This year, for the first time, it's been reduced to 25%, and that's why we have all these sites on the CEP provision. Nutrition Services was able to obtain approval from CDE for a proposal to contribute funds towards child nutrition education by paying for 0.23 FTE of the garden and cooking teachers' total FTE, as well as covering their food budget. These instructors will help promote the school food service program by coming into the cafeteria at lunch, encouraging salad bar participation, talking to the students about the food, and helping them make connections to the items they see on the service line with what they are growing in the school gardens. This comes at a savings of an additional $300,000 to the general fund. Over the last 6 years, Nutrition Services has partnered with a number of our departments to more effectively provide for our students. With shared goals and know-how, these collaborations have yielded exciting results. Students of various age groups have communicated the urgency to reduce waste and have made suggestions as to the sorts of solutions they would like to see implemented. The city of Berkeley has long advocated for electric appliances versus gas. We have tackled this problem and will see dishwashers and reusable serviceware at all our schools by January 2026. We are working with Garden and Cooking to support our shared goals for good health, good nutrition, food security, as well as a profound appreciation for the natural world and the impact it has on our health and well-being. We are working with Sustainability Sophia Peltz, who has been instrumental in implementing reusables at school sites and will continue to facilitate this process at each site until we have fully transitioned from single-use items to reusables. Steve Collins has been instrumental in managing the bidding process and coordinating the installation of dish machines, as well as working with us to do the requisite electrical work for replacing gas equipment with electric equipment. Custodians have been receptive to the changes in serviceware with the support of Raymond Young. We have been able to work through these transitions successfully. Facilities, John Cleese is working with Nutrition Services on modernization. Projects ensuring that the work includes our needs specifically for service and sustainability. On the political front, annually, the state legislature evaluates funding to public schools. School food service and the various food programs are impacted by these measures. Without nutrition services directors advocating for their programs, advocacy groups and representatives have difficulty making their cases. I have worked at length over the years to participate in these campaigns to support our students and ensure continued access to healthy, nutritious foods, as well as for safe and quality work environments done sustainably. Finally, for the last 2 years, we have partnered with the Berkeley Public Library to extend our food service program beyond our school sites. The library reaches many young families during the summer in a safe and enriched learning environment that supports good readers and good food. I would also like to add that I'd be remiss if I left out the support of my supervisor, Pauline Follensby, who has been a positive sounding board and support for the concerns that have come up for me over the years for our department and the solutions needed for resolution. Thank you, Pauline. Nutrition services goals continue to be to provide fresh, healthy, nutritious meals made from scratch sustainably to all our students equitably. We will continue to engage with our stakeholders, the students, administration, and the community at large to work towards our shared goals for excellence, health, sustainability, and well-being. Through collaboration and with new ideas, I'm confident that the department will succeed in bringing greater enrichment to our students and our impressive BUSD community. I'm grateful to have been a part of this department these 17 years. It's been a privilege for me to have worked with all of you and for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Christensen, for that presentation. And, this is agendized as a presentation, so there's no discussion that follows up. But I just want to say, I really appreciate all the wisdom that you shared with us in this presentation. You left us thinking of how to improve for the future. So thank you so much for sharing that with the board. And next, we will move on to our single discussion item, which is agenda item 14.1, the Longfellow Middle School update. And Assistant Superintendent Caleese, will you be introducing this item?
Good evening, board directors. That's going to be really hard to top, but I'm definitely going to try. So we are here tonight just to have a quick presentation and then a discussion regarding Longfellow, as well as the district-wide moves that came from that. Never works. I have never had this thing work yet. Next slide, please. Oh, see, I wasn't even pressing it anymore. So we always start with our mission, and really what this is the mission of the facilities department to absolutely support the 4 E's of BUSD and really to just afford our students, staff, and neighbors a community hub to embrace those E's. So tonight we're going to talk about the Longfellow campus and findings, the steps taken to ensure that students could return on time, Longfellow at San Pablo, and district-wide building safety. Now, I did just mention it as Longfellow at San Pablo because for many years you all heard me talk about Oxford at West Campus. In facilities, we still have a project at Longfellow, so the names actually become a little bit of an issue for us when we talk about Longfellow. It's, well, which Longfellow? So facilities, you'll often hear to us refer to this now as Longfellow at San Pablo. So Longfellow Middle School, the curriculum building, is the building that we are discussing, and this is the building that was found to be problematic. The auditorium, which is actually in the center of that building, was built circa 1920, and this was prior to the Field Act or any structural standards that was specific to schools in the state of California or the country. So in 1935, with the passing of the Field Act, that building was actually reconstructed, and there was additions added onto it, which is now made it the curriculum wing. That brought not only the auditorium up to compliance with California and federal standards, but also the new additions that were added. In 1997, the district did a limited voluntary seismic upgrade on the building. And then we fast forward to 2023 when we began the modernization. So the first part is really the construction discovery. I have 2 photos here. This is the first. What's highlighted in green is where not only all of the dry rot it was found to be, but also all the structural deficiencies in the building. And what you're seeing there is on the 3-story building, all of basically the primary structural members that hold up the building that run in between the windows from the concrete level all the way to the roof line. In 2021 and 2022, as part of the design, there was destructive testing done. And what that is where they opened up small portions of the stucco. And unfortunately, none of this was actually discovered during that time. Destructive testing is done very strategically in locations to try to find this without disturbing the entire building. And it just wasn't seen by the engineering firm that did this. Fast forward June 6th of this year, got a phone call from the contractor that they were stripping the stucco and they discovered extensive dry rot. They also discovered structural deficiencies, and we were notified and on site that day. After we found that and saw it all on June 7th, we had an on-site meeting with the structural engineer, the architect, and the contractor. It was about a half a day worth of investigation of really looking at everything. And what we found was that the dry rot and resulting structural deficiencies from that dry rot, it was determined to be extensive. Due to that, the structural engineer red tagged the building. So what is a red tag? Because I use that term a lot in relation to Longfellow. So really what it comes down to is when a structural engineer puts a red tag on the building, it is dangerous and it is unfit for occupancy. Legally, we cannot occupy it. In the instance of Longfellow, that red tag is intended for students and staff. All non-essential personnel cannot occupy the building. The way that that particular red tag is written as non-essential is that it does allow for construction personnel to still enter the building for the reconstruction purposes with prescribed and approved safety measures. So as a result of the red tag, the entire campus was closed for safety concerns due to the close proximity of other buildings and the space constraints. So with that, what did we do? So Longfellow was relocated to Berkeley Adult School. Berkeley Adult School was relocated to the King CDC, to the Longfellow Dining Commons, and then the district office. King CDC was consolidated into Franklin CDC and Hopkins CDC. The district office professional development rooms and some offices from the district office were all relocated to Parker Street. And then Parker Street is moving to the new facility on 9th Street. So to your question earlier, Director Shinosky, it was 3 schools and 7 facilities. So facilities worked in collaboration with other district leaders as well as site leadership and our partners at Van Pelt Construction to develop a relocation plan to operate schools and offices safely and effectively. 2 moving companies were contracted to pack in most instances and move all of the contents and furniture. More than 5,000 people hours were expended over the last 5 weeks to complete these moves. And as of Friday, we were a full week ahead of schedule. We hit substantial completion on all of the moves, and we're done. Right now, we just are wrapping up. Before I jump to the next slide, I will say thank you to all of my colleagues, to the board for their support. And I want to give a particular shout out to Van Pelt and Ashley Del Rio in particular. She was our project manager who ran this, our program manager, and it was just a Herculean effort that we managed to accomplish in such a short period of time. So Longfellow at San Pablo, what is that going to look like? All space needs have been accommodated. It's a closed campus with access control on all of the building entries. Pedestrian and bike access, rolling drop-off and pickup location, as well as student loading locations have all been coordinated with site leadership and city staff to ensure student and staff safety. Additional cameras are being installed at the site to align with the needs of a middle school. The Curtis Street parking lot, the back lot at this time is to remain locked. This lot will actually be used for outdoor space as well as outdoor eating areas, some basketball, etc. The facilities at James Kenney Park have been secured for physical education, which is about a block and a half away. And then programs such as CTE, cooking and gardening, and PE are all remaining intact. So there's been a lot of questions that I know I've seen in my inbox that I really have neglected this summer with all the moves, but I believe the board may have seen as well about, is a full structural assessment of the entire district warranted at this time? Structural assessments are typically triggered after major seismic events. The last major seismic event that we had in California was Loma Prieta in 1989. All of the identified deficiencies were addressed following this assessment. Those identified deficiencies included some building modernizations, as well as 2 schools being completely razed and rebuilt, and those were Rosa Parks and Cragmont. Since that time, there's been no major seismic events, and also all operational BUSD facilities are in compliance with the Field Act. And what that means is that structurally, our buildings, even older buildings, are considerably more sound than any other buildings that you will find in the city. This last slide is something that I put in here only to really remind the school communities, but also the community at large, that community is the school itself is the community, not the building. We recognize that change is hard, but we want to remind everybody that the community goes with them. Their teachers, their custodians, their bus drivers, their school safety officers, they all move with the school site, and that stays as part of that community. So with that, I will open it up to any questions.
Thank you so much, Director Police. Colleagues, I see Director Shinosky, I see Vice President Brown. So we'll start with Director Shinosky, and then we'll turn over to you, Vice President Brown.
I'll be really quick. 2 things. One is I would like to know, or some reassurance that the plan is for our adult school students to return to the adult school. I think we're really focused on, our youngest students, and, rightfully we're worried about how Longfellow middle schoolers are going to be impacted, but we're also really impacting our adult learners. And so I'd like to know the plan for the adult school.
Yeah, so great question. And I did focus this evening on Longfellow as that was the request, but we were able to meet all of the needs of the adult school and moving them. The adult school was moved to actually 3 different sites, but we worked really extensively with Tom Reed, the principal, with Associate Superintendent Hugendijk, And we were able to make sure that their needs were met. It is our plan to absolutely bring the adult school back home to San Pablo upon completion of the reconstruction of Longfellow.
A follow-up to that, and then I have my other question. But just as a follow-up, can we be sure, because I know it's really challenging to do some of these things in the summer without the teachers and staff present that are doing the work every day. Is there also the possibility to get feedback this fall and make adjustments as necessary?
Adjustments in what sense? I'm sorry.
I'm just thinking for myself, I can imagine I'm a teacher, and so if somebody puts me in another classroom, it may seem like that other classroom will work just fine for the purposes of my class, but if you don't know it intimately, you wouldn't know that, for example, I need a bench with water and a hood so that I can do chemistry demonstrations, so a regular classroom wouldn't work. So do we have the flexibility so that as we get some input in the first few weeks of classes, we can make those adjustments?
Yes and no. We're always looking for the feedback and we will accommodate it as best we can. We actually moved with each classroom. We moved not only all the contents of the classroom as far as belongings and teaching materials, but furniture as well.
Okay.
That being said, once we start looking to add things like sinks and hoods and so on and so forth, it actually triggers a need for DSA projects, which quite frankly, in the time frame that we anticipate the schools being displaced, we would likely be beginning construction around time for them to go back. Because by the time it takes to spec it out, go through a plan process, right, with an architect and then get a DSA approval and put it to public bid. So we'll try to accommodate it with temporary facilities as best as we can. That's even as an example, what we've done for cooking and gardening. We were able to buy them a lot of fixtures, furniture, and equipment, mobile sinks, things like that to move over to the adult school, to Longfellow at San Pablo so that they can continue to operate their program. And we'll do our best to do that for the adult school as well.
Great. And my other quick question is just, it's my understanding that the housing for staff will still be on track that we're building. And I wanted to just see if we could have a quick update on that.
Yeah, so workforce housing will remain on schedule. There was some feedback and requests that we delay that so that the Longfellow students weren't interrupted by that. Unfortunately, because of the way that that project is being funded, any delay that we create would likely cancel that project. So understanding that it will be happening in the parking lot out towards San Pablo, we're scheduled to break ground in 25. We don't have a definitive date yet, but right now the schedule shows anywhere between February and July, I believe, of 2025. We will be breaking ground on that project.
Thank you so much. And thank you again for all the work you've done and all the work your staff has done and Ben Pelt have done for us.
Thank you.
Vice President Brown.
Hello and congratulations, Assistant Superintendent Khalees. I had a couple of questions. First, I wanted to make a comment. Our community has pretty much been in uproar all summer in regards to the issues that are happening at Longfellow. And it has really kind of moved and shaken a lot of folks and in our community, really from the perspective of, is our school safe? How do we know? How can we be sure? And earlier in the beginning of your comments, you mentioned the 2021-2022 work that was done at Longfellow and how that wasn't the dry rot wasn't there when they did the work at Longfellow. And a lot of folks in our community have been asking, when's the last time our buildings have been looked at? How come we didn't catch this sooner? And the truth of the matter is that dry rot can spread incredibly fast in a day or even in a couple of months. And so if you could take some time to kind of explain a little bit about how that happened. And I think it will help to assure folks that we are checking on our schools. We are, this board and many boards ahead of us have approved maintenance measures with the community support to be able to ensure that we are taking care of our buildings and looking after them. So a little bit of insight there. And also, I understand that we don't typically assess our buildings until after there has been a major, like an earthquake or whatever major things that could impact our buildings. But how else can we assure that our communities, that our buildings are safe, not just knowing that they are older buildings and those older buildings were built to last, but how else can we assure them that we are regularly checking on our sites? So that's my first question. And then I'll go into the other two.
So a few things. One, dry rot can happen very fast, but I will not say that this level of dry rot occurred since 21, since the destructive testing. When the destructive testing was done, it's very strategic and it's small areas of stucco that they open, and this was not detected. What we found there is definitely older than that, and I just want to be very transparent about that. Why it is that we don't, and I'm going to try to remember all your questions, but why it is that we don't go around and actually check every school about something like this now is, one, there's absolutely a tremendous cost implication to start stripping all of the stucco and all of the siding off of our schools so that we can look at it, because that has been suggested. But it's also a tremendous disturbance to do that to teaching and learning. The amount of noise and disruption that would occur every day is tremendous. Understanding that, it rolls into the question about maintenance. Typically, our maintenance, we have a very comprehensive preventative maintenance program. And between the preventative maintenance as well as the reactive maintenance that we do when we get calls for leaks and things, anything like this is usually identified. This is a little bit unique because where the majority of the damage was found was actually on shear walls. Those shear walls had been added on top of existing shear walls during the 1997 seismic. So what that means is there was existing shear walls of 1x4 that were up on the wall, and you can sort of see it on the pictures. And then what they did in 1997 was they added another layer of plywood on top of it. And then from there, then they stuccoed. Everything that had rotted out was that exterior shear wall that could not be seen from inside. So even when they got calls for leaks and they went out to look and they would open up the walls, there was no way to see that damage. And that's partially why the destructive testing didn't catch it. It's very unfortunate in the sense of that it couldn't be detected sooner. But the reality is this does seem to be a one-off when we understand how that building is constructed. There's been some questions of like, who is at fault? And there's also the question of how did this happen? And truthfully, there's no one person that we could point the finger back to. How this happened, though, is what the engineers have found and the waterproofing consultants and so on and so forth is the way that the gutters were actually originally installed on this building when it was built all those years ago was a really intricate system on the eave where they notched every eave to accept the rain gutters. The problem is in doing that, the back of those gutters were actually slightly lower than the front. So when those gutters would fill up just because of large amounts of rain and the downspouts couldn't keep up with it, instead of the water spilling over the front, it ran down the back and it ran behind the stucco. So it's very rare to see something like this. Even when we started to pull the gutters and when we were looking at the investigation, everybody on the scaffolding, myself, the engineers, the architects, all sort of scratched our heads because we had never seen a system designed like this. It's a one-off. It's a very old school, unfortunately, like most of our schools, but we don't have reason to believe that we have any type of extensive damage like this elsewhere. Now, is that to say that it doesn't exist? I can't say that. I don't have X-ray vision, but I do feel confident, right, in our maintenance program that looks at all of these things.
Thank you, John, for Associate Superintendent Calise for taking the time to explain that to our community. The follow-up, and to the board a while ago, but to our community, the follow-up that I would have to that is to really ask the facilities subcommittee to take some time to look at other factors that could lead to that happening in other schools. So if it was a gutter issue, maybe we are not doing an entire assessment of all of our buildings, but maybe if that is something we know we need to look for, maybe we're looking for that and other factors that could lead to challenges without taking the time to do an entire assessment. And so I'd like to give the direction to the facilities committee, which, hey, I happen to be on. Great. And so we'll hopefully take care of that in the future. I know that you all are also working hard to address the needs for transportation for Longfellow. And I'm not asking you to make a comment on this tonight or prepare or to expect that you are prepared to give us an answer, but just to address the public comment that was made earlier, to know that there is a need for the community and the need is around transportation. And so the other direction I would give is that you continue to have those conversations and update the community as soon as we know. And then finally, not a question or a comment for you, but I would really just like to elevate the diligence and the resilience of our community during this time. And that includes, of course, all of our Longfellow staff and Principal Salita Mitchell for really just being flexible. This is not an easy task, and it's not just about moving, but it's also about reassuring people that they are safe and that learning will continue to happen. And so I'm very grateful to the community at Longfellow, as well as the adult school for offering their space. And then finally, a group who we have not mentioned tonight is our district staff who have given up their offices to house the adult school staff. And so thank you to our superintendent who gets down and does the work with us, who has given up her space, as well as our board secretary and secretary to our superintendent, on all of those who I've forgotten to mention, please forgive me, but thank you for really embodying what the word community means and making it happen for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Calise, for your presentation. Vice President Brown, you stole my two questions. We just had to make sure this doesn't happen in other buildings, and if you could talk about the transportation issues. I just wanted to acknowledge that those are, really real concerns from our parent community, and I understand and I thank you for saying that this is a unique situation. But I also understand the parents in the district who want to be sure that we're doing our due diligence and understand there's a lot being thrown at facilities at this time, but do want to thank Vice President Brown for taking this on facilities. I know you guys have a lot on your plate, and Director Shanowski, because those concerns are real. I always tell people I'm a parent first before I'm a board director, and those concerns are really real. So just want to acknowledge that. And on the transportation side, I know the answer to this question, but I think it's good for the public to know, Director Calise, Assistant Superintendent Calise, that you are working with the city of Berkeley to make sure that the traffic flow issues are addressed preemptively. I've seen all of your hard work during the summer to coordinate with our city leaders to make sure that we're protecting our bikers and rollers to school, that we are being good neighbors to our community. I know there was a comment earlier about Sylvia Mendez, but maybe you could talk just briefly about the kind of conversations that you have pending with district officials on top of all of the tremendous work that you've done this summer.
Yeah, so with the city, it's really just been a collaboration of us showing them what our plans were. We met with the school's leadership over at Longfellow at San Pablo with Principal Mitchell, as well as the Vice Principal, Ingie, whose last name I can never pronounce, so I'm not going to try. But we did meet with them. We worked out a plan. We met with the city officials and we reviewed that. They had some concerns. They asked us to make a few modifications, and we've done those things. We know that we will likely have to re-engage that conversation as we look towards the construction of workforce housing, but that's a conversation to have once the dust settles.
Thank you so much, Assistant Superintendent Calise. And for my board colleagues, just want you to know that there's an email out there to AC Transit, and those conversations are also happening with our local bus service, because we know that many of our middle school students do use AC Transit to get to and from school. So we want to make sure that their service needs are also met. So thank you to the staff for having those important conversations. And with that, if there are no more questions or comments, colleagues. And do you have any questions? Okay, we don't want to put you on the spot. We will move on to extended public comments. Thank you. And let me look online to see, is there anyone here in person for extended public comments, Ms. Charis? 3 or whatever. Okay, let me see online. I don't see any raised hands online. Okay, there's none online, so I will move on to seeing no public comments. We'll move on to extended board member comments. Colleagues, does anyone have extended board member comments? No. All right, seeing no extended board member comments. I want to thank you all for coming to our first school board meeting of this academic year. It's going to be a wonderful year. And hereby we adjourn the meeting at 8:50 in time for the birthday girl to get to her festivities. Thank you.